Sincerest apologies for the funky setup. Because the webcam on my computer is on the bottom of the screen for some reason, I've had to stack this onto two boxes. It's pretty stable, but I've had to stack it on top of two boxes just to get a good view of everything. And when I press the space bar for the video that I'm going to be reacting to, you can see me doing it. I'll actually see if I can do it down here. Yeah. So that you won't be able to see because I have another keyboard down here. But essentially, this guy right there has made a very it's like his 50,000th video on Gen Alpha, and this one in particular is not well made in the slightest. So, before I get into it, there is a big point I need to make. In his videos, there is a common point he makes about how a lot of Gen Alpha people will try and debunk him. I'm, for one, maybe not even Gen Alpha. I was born in 2011, and the age range changes every single day for what Gen Alpha actually is, so I'm not actually sure. But in the case that I am Gen Alpha, I am one of the good ones. You might know a little computer application for school called IXL. I might put it up here, I might not. But regardless, there's a little diagnostic thing, and the it's basically for each 100 that is the grade you're in, and for like the tens and ones values that's like how far in you are. But essentially, I have a like 1180 in language arts and a 940 in math. I am in 8th grade, so that is spectacular scores. I have also come up with a way to solve linear systems in my class. It's pretty neat. But my point is, I am not one of the people trying to debunk this guy that is Gen Alpha just saying baselessly, oh yeah, we're doing fine. No, Gen Alpha is cooked, but this guy doesn't do a good job of explaining it. So I am going to see if I can explain it better for him because he's not doing too good of a job. So, enjoy.
It's no longer that Gen Alpha can't read. Now Gen Alpha can't speak. Look at how this Gen Alpha refers to a certain vegetable.
These, the smashed potatoes. You don't know about smashed potatoes?
You're talking about mashed potatoes?
Yeah.
Yeah, kid, I love smashed potatoes.
Okay, so, dude, smashed potatoes is, correct. You might have just seen my camera really bug out just then. Um, so, I'm trying to turn the volume of this up, but essentially, smashed potatoes is correct. You mashing and smashing is the same thing. If you weren't aware, the difference is smashing and mashing are generally used in different contexts, such as like smashing. That's generally used when like you're like breaking something hard or like a rock or something. Um, but smashed potatoes is technically correct. It's just kind of weird. That is all. I don't understand why you need to harp on this guy about it for no reason.
You get a potato and you just beat it until it's totally smashed.
Yeah, that's how mashed potatoes work. Lovely. What is that?
It's a real bloody experience. Alright, that video is cute, but a lot of videos aren't, because Gen Alpha will tell you exactly what they're thinking. Watch what happens.
Yeah, 'cause they're children. Children don't have a filter because they're children. Gen Alpha are children and as such have no filter because they don't know when it is respectful or disrespectful to say something. That is generally something that is much worse with Gen Alpha, but saying that they have no filter isn't really a good argument.
When Gen Alpha learned what segregation was.
We were talking about influential.
Okay. So this guy, so here's the thing. The video that he's using is from the YouTuber Janifest Destiny. I'm actually going to see if it's in the description. So he's not crediting these people, which is even worse. But this guy on screen is Janifest Destiny, who has a high school class and he teaches them history. As such, the name Janifest Destiny. So Mr. Jan here is talking about his experience with his students at school, and they're often very funny. This is not a video of his trying to debunk like Gen Alpha or like saying that they're dumb or anything. He's just explaining his experiences and some of the dumb things they've said. It is a comedy video where you look at some of the things the students have said and laugh because they say funny things. That is what this video is.
African Americans in that period of history, and I mentioned Booker T. Washington, and a student unironically looked at me and said, I didn't know George Washington had a brother. I said, George Washington died 90 years prior to this. And then he said, so it's his great-great-great-grandson, question mark. I went over Plessy v. Ferguson, the Supreme Court case that determined the legal justification for segregation. Plessy is told he cannot sit in the whites-only train car. One of my students said, that's so racist. And I said, yes, it's the Jim Crow South.
That is probably just a joke that one of the students made as a joke.
We're learning about systemic racism in America right now.
Saying that's a racist while learning about racism is just amazing.
Okay, so it was very clear, as I've just said, that is a joke that the student was making. It's just like, oh, we're learning about racism? Ooh, that's so racist. Aha, please laugh. It is a common joke you will see in the classroom. It's like, oh, what? That's so what? It's a very typical joke.
And you do not want to see how Gen Alpha is inside their school classrooms.
I mean, they're dumb.
It's honestly going to make you want to end your life.
No, I can guarantee that it has not made me want to kill myself.
Immediately.
Trial of 1925. Schlack, can you please stop raising up queso? You're not the Rizzler.
Well, Miss
Ugh! That's like trying to rhyme something with itself.
G, he phenotypes my grimace shake. I will level 10 Gaia.
Okay, so first of all, that is not Gen Alpha, and second of all, Grimace Shake is dead as hell. Third of all, I have yet to meet a single person that talks like he's doing right now. There is no one referring to Grimace Shake and using exclusively brain rot terms in a sentence. They're not that stupid. I have not seen a single person this brain rotted.
Not down on Ohio, you don't. Stop trying to be Kaisenat and go.
This video, because this guy has a habit of not crediting people, I guess, I don't know where to find it, but I'm willing to bet that this was from like 2 years ago. Or like when was Grimace Shake? The boxes are blocking the keyboard. It's hard to maneuver around it. Yep. When was Grimace Shake? 2023. So like 3 years ago is when I would guess this video was actually made. I highly doubt this was made right now.
Go back to skibbity toilets before you get mogged by iShow speed.
I don't even, like, bro. No one says that. No one is saying they were mogged by iShow speed. No one is saying that. I just accidentally opened Steam, I think. Oh no. Oh no, it's coming. Uh-oh. Oh, it didn't open Steam.
Can the sun just explode already? Also, so excited to finally announce that my songs are now on Spotify, so if you want to listen to Love Can't Wait to Rap Out, please click the link in the description to be the very first.
Oh no, Steam did open!
Use their typing abilities for evil and just...
But Miss G.
The sun just explode already. Also, so excited to finally announce that my songs are now on Spotify, so if you want to listen to Love Can't Wait the Rap Battles, we didn't start the virus, click the link in the description to be the very first. And even the Gen Alphas who can type use their typing abilities for evil and...
Every Gen Alpha can type. You look at a letter, you press it, and then the letter appears. It is not that difficult to type. Once again, I have not seen a single person incapable of pressing a button.
And just some confusion.
I'd rather get 1 cent a second than 2.5.
This is a video by either this can't be Kaldruki because he doesn't use that voice. It's probably Mando, I think, or like Lee Sense or something. But this is once again a comedy video. You're not supposed to take this seriously. Oh wait, it's in the corner. Razy $700
million.
1 cent a second is 1.3 billion every other week. Hardly a difficult choice.
Literally, how did you reach this result?
I just thought of the biggest number I know and commented it.
That wasn't even Gen Alpha, bro. You can't talk about Gen Alpha being stupid and take a dude that isn't Gen Alpha and isn't being stupid. That is insanely dumb of you.
1 million level IQ right there. Like, I didn't know numbers went as high as 1.3 billion. Although I heard a rumor there's a number even higher called 1.4 billion.
That is so funny.
How many chromosomes do you have?
More than you, lol.
That is another joke. That's gotta be Mando.
Don't look that one up, buddy.
You're in a
So the joke there is, of course, that having a certain chromosome being copied when it isn't supposed to. I think it was chromosome pair 23. No, I got that number from Stupid Town. One of the chromosome pairs, if it is duplicated when it isn't supposed to be, you get Down syndrome. The joke is that when someone says, I have more chromosomes than you, ha 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 ha, I'm better than you. The joke is that they are saying they have Down syndrome, and the joke is that you gotta pretend that they are stupid, I guess, as a result of this.
third world country.
That is literally America.
America is a first world country.
Bad, I messed up geometry class.
Geometry?
There is no way to tell whether or not this person is Gen Alpha.
Yeah, it's so disappointing when Americans don't know the geometry of the Middle East or the...
And now you're switching from Gen Alpha to Americans. You are American. I'm listening to the way you speak, and I can tell for a fact that you are, you are not existent if you are not in America.
chemistry of Papua New Guinea, or don't even get me started on the physics of Uzbekistan. Because Gen Alpha will not hold back, alright, even if they're from Australia.
Listening to this from Australia.
That's so sick. Thanks for the support.
I didn't say I liked it, or if it was good.
Yep, that is definitely Australian. Probably not Gen Alpha, though.
Sounds like shit, Doc.
Oh, that's nice. I was going to class recently, and this one kid goes, Happy Chinese New Year. And I'm like, oh, Happy Chinese New Year. The kid looks at me and goes, the fuck? I'm not Chinese.
There is a 0% chance that has happened.
If I saw someone wearing this, I would literally...
Bro unalived mid-comment.
If I saw someone wearing...
There is, 1, no way to tell if that person was Gen Alpha. And 2, that wasn't even a particularly dumb comment.
This, I would literally...
He eated the button.
It's 8. Not being rude, by the way.
I know I ate.
He did eat there, I will...
So you clearly got the joke. But once again, there's no way to tell if that person is Gen Alpha. They're also intentionally being dense for the bit. You don't know how a joke works, despite getting every joke in this video. But only half of them, because, the geometry and, physics of Pakistan.
That's a smart kid.
The monster I have become. So sad, mad me crying, I'm 11.
Sorry, my son was on my account watching.
You, Dad?
I'm scared.
Do you have a...
You didn't even make a comment about the actually guaranteed Gen Alpha person in there. You just didn't comment on it. When you get a clip of someone that's actually Gen Alpha, you didn't make a comment about it and why, you've made a point in your previous videos about why Gen Alpha is trying to grow up so much. Oh, the monster I become. in what amount of time? 7 years since birth? That could have been a good point.
Girlfriend?
Sigh. No, I've been told that I'm too sweet and caring and nice, but I don't know. I honestly just try to be me. I could Google it, but what does ILYK mean?
So he didn't look at that one.
Let you know.
Yeah, tell me when you figure it out. My religion says you're going to hell, but I still
didn't go to that one.
Support you guys.
I'm German. Am I going to hell?
Yes. You have very nice Asian features.
I didn't comment on that one.
Not Asian.
Unfollowed.
I guess that.
So you just skipped 3 videos in a row, understandably, because they have nothing to do with your point, but now you're commenting on them.
I guess that's logical. Look what the kid said to this poor teacher.
Are you in therapy?
Now you get into actual stuff 4 minutes into the video. 4 minutes after the intro.
You seem like the type. You look like my grandpa's couch.
This is another video like Mr. Jan where it's just stuff that students have said because it is funny, but there has been no big statement about what it means.
Like your grandpa's couch? Maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe this kid's really into his grandpa's couch.
So you just critique the joke instead of like, oh, Gen Alpha is so rude or whatever. You just say something about the joke, like, oh, maybe they like the grandpa couch. There was no point made there except pointing out that, like, this kid, or maybe, like, by extension, the rest of Gen Alpha likes grandpa's couches. There was nothing of substance there.
Now that the ops are gone, we can yap. That alert, that one ended up being about me. I was eating some crackers. Miss Dugan, you don't want to know what I say about you behind your back or you quit your job.
People who have been teaching for 30 years are making videos explaining why this crop of students is making them finally quit the job.
And now you get into the point. Now you actually say something of substance.
Forever. And what comes up again and again, like day follows night, like black follows white, or like Beyonce had one of the best music videos of all time, follows hold up, I'ma let you finish.
I'm let you finish.
Is the way every teacher points to the iPads as the source of all these problems. Watch this teacher explain how her own school districts are setting up kids to fail by not just allowing, but mandating every kid use an iPad.
Okay. So we'll see if she actually makes that point in a sec. I only have 13 minutes for this clip, so I'm probably going to have to do multiple recordings, but yeah, we'll see.
In my county, every kid gets an iPad for the school year, and they turn it back in at the end of the school year, and then they get it back in August or whenever we come back. I have seen where to even begin? A lot of these kids don't know how to read because they have had things read to them, or they can click a button and have something read out loud to them. Their attention spans are waning because everything is high stimulation. They can just scroll, watch less than a minute. They can't sit still for very long. I know when I was their age, I thought movie days were a treat. I loved movie days. It was a way to relax, kind of take a break. And for them, what they mean when they say they want a movie is they want a movie on in the background for the noise while they scroll on their phones, put their headphones in, look at TikTok, and maybe talk to their friends and not pay attention to anything. Whenever I do have a movie day, I can count on one hand the amount of students in all 3 classes that I teach throughout the day who maybe actually pay attention to the movie. It's frustrating and it's disheartening because if I ask a child to handwrite something, even just a paragraph, 5 sentences, basic paragraph, they roll their eyes, they throw tantrums. I'm talking about high schoolers, 10th grade now. They get really, really unruly, and because I'm young too, they want to argue with me about it, and they want to say, why can't we just type it? Why can't we just type it? Well, it's because you'll go on another website, or you'll copy it, or use AI, or use ChatGPT. I think I grew up in a time when history was so important, learning what the Declaration of Independence was so important, and if you can't read, and if you don't care to read, or learn the vocabulary, or learn your context clues, you're never going to understand it, and therefore it's never going to mean anything to you, and you're never going to have real opinions, and why we have the right to vote, why this stuff is important. And I just don't think these kids even care. They don't care about making a difference in the world. They don't care about how to write a resume because ChatGPT will just do it for them. And I think that we need to cut off technology from these kids, probably until they go to college.
These kids see screens as so...
That was a good point. Make more of those. Sure is a shame that you didn't credit that creator because I don't know where to find that. That would have been a great point, and you're making a great point. But you just took someone's entire video for 2 whole minutes, and then now, and you're making a point off of it, sure, but you're not telling us where you got the video from. Like, quite honestly, I'm not sure you did anything in your language arts class. You gotta, like, pick evidence that actually supports your claim, and you have to cite that evidence. You have to tell people where you got that from.
Normal, they'll fight their teacher to use them whenever they can. Like, I'm just gonna be real, you can see the pain in her eyes when she says she no longer has faith in the kids she teaches.
We are at the point where I really don't have a lot of faith in some of these kids that I teach.
And once you don't have faith in your students, you can't in good faith be a teacher anymore.
See, now you're leading up to a good point. It's too bad that to develop this point, it took you 7 whole minutes. It took you 7 minutes, most of it being just absolutely nothing talk, and 2 minutes of it being stolen content to say people feel like there is no point in teaching, and because of that, there's no reason to teach them because you can't do that in good faith. It took you 7 minutes to say that, most of it being filler, and some of it being stolen.
It's like a doctor not believing in medicine, or like Nick Cannon not believing in paternity tests. This teacher's not...
Why did you even make that joke? Why did you make that joke? There was no reason to do that.
Not alone. Here's another teacher who decided to quit for good because of Gen Alpha.
After 24 years of being a teacher, today I officially resigned.
She talks about how these kids are completely out of control at home, and their parents...
So just show her talking about that.
Parents don't teach them to respect authority. So when the kids come to class and the teachers are expected to keep all their students in line, when the kids inevitably misbehave and the teachers rebuke them, the kids' parents will send angry emails reprimanding the teacher.
Parents coming to you and saying, you need to meet my child's expectations. No, it's not real. It doesn't exist. If you want that, then I suggest you homeschool or maybe send them to a private school. In a public school education, it is.
That would be a good point to develop on. You should people aren't being sent to private schools because XYZ. That would have been a good thing to try and develop on. Not the 2 minutes of random stolen Mando footage.
Isn't going to happen. And if you think it's going to happen, you're fooling yourself. Get off the backs of your teachers.
Because parents just give their kids iPads at home, so they don't have to deal with actually showing their kids what's right and what's wrong. Parents have a stake in defending iPad kids because it makes their life easier in the short run. Look at all these parents boasting about how they're going to get their kids iPads.
Meaning because everything is high stimulation, they can just scroll.
Come to Best Buy with me and my baby girls. I am gonna buy them some iPads. Let me see how she looks with an iPad in her hand. Is it too big for you? Oh my goodness, they're so little. Okay, I decided on an iPad. I'm getting 2, of course.
Those TikToks signify a lot of parents influencing other parents to offload the job of parenting to Coco Melon. And Gen Z is starting to take note. Okay, they're starting to notice that millennials are creating so many of the Gen Alpha kids that the rest of us have to share a society with.
Yep. There is also another thing I'd like to say. You have already made 15 videos for this exact point. You have made 15 videos where the point was you should be careful about your parenting because, millennials are raising Gen Alpha with all these iPads. You made a video on that already, so I don't understand why you're making a video about this. Not to mention, for the title of this, it's 9 minutes in, and you still haven't mentioned how they can't read. I have muted
millennials.
Kids that the rest of us have to share a society with.
Y'all are saying that Gen Z is making fun of millennials for raising iPad kids, right? I don't care if I'm a millennial teacher or not. I have to join in with Gen Z here and saying that y'all are raising some kids that are extremely hard to deal with. Is it really that we're being bullied by Gen Z, like they're bullying us about mom jeans, or is it that from a third party perspective, we're being called out for some poor parenting choices and we just don't want to hear it? We always like to clown on boomers for not having any emotional capacity to take criticism because of their parenting choices. But y'all need to step back and realize that you're doing the exact same thing. I'm a millennial teacher that has taught millennials, Gen Z, and now Gen Alpha. And I can tell you that screen time and the lack of restrictions around screen time has 100% affected their academic performance, the way that they function in the classroom, and their social skills. A lot of these millennial responses to Gen Z calling out them raising iPad kids is them saying, well, you're not a parent yet. You wouldn't understand until you're in that situation. But y'all do realize that Gen Z are old enough to be having kids, right? They're old enough to be parenting, and they're seeing what they're seeing out in public. They're seeing how these kids are acting in the classroom. They're seeing how they're acting out on the streets. And they know that they don't want to have anything to do with that they're going to make different choices around screen time and iPads. And y'all are mad about it.
Exactly. You can tell.
Okay. So here's your problem, Casey. Should I refer? I don't think you'll like me referring to you like that. Here's your problem, sir. Hold. Here's your problem, Unk. Here's your problem, Unk. So essentially, you make a point, then you show a video that goes on for 47 hours explaining your point, and then it is because you've shown so much of that video without any commentary for like 4 minutes, it is genuinely jarring to see you arrive on my screen. It is genuinely like, oh yeah, I'm watching this guy's video. You need to like make the points more concise, and once again, maybe credit the ones where it is, possible to credit them, but it's not like on the screen with like a TikTok label. So
when a kid has been raised by real people interacting with him, or just by some zeros and ones written by Sam Altman. And some teachers are following these parents' leads. Instead of trying to conform Gen Alpha to their classroom, they're conforming their classroom to Gen Alpha.
We go. Bruh, 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 bruh. Clock it, clock it, clock it, clock it. What the sigma, what the sigma, what the sigma, what the sigma. Sigma raise, sigma raise, sigma raise, sigma.
I'm like 90% chance that's not how you say that note. I'm not sure they're doing it right, so here's the big point. You're just doing this and making the video. This is not a criticism of you, Unk. This is a criticism of this teacher. This is you're not teaching your classmates. You're making a video. Classmates. You're not teaching your students. You're making a video. You're focused on making a video to the point where your class, I'm like 90% sure, isn't saying the Sigma Riz note right.
This is not good.
And then you get another dude cutting in. You could have cut that out, Casey.
6, 7, Ohio, Ohio, Ohio. Yeah!
I'm currently reevaluating all the choices I've made in my life that led me to this moment where I had to...
Cool? I don't care. You can just point out that it's not good. I don't care about your life decisions because they've led you to making this video, which isn't well made.
Watch that video. In fact, it's gotten so bad, some people are starting to worry if one explanation for the way Gen Alpha is behaving is because Gen Alpha no longer sees human faces. Because their parents, their teachers, their aunts and their uncles, their cousins, they all have their heads buried in screens. So rather than these young, developing minds seeing and making eye contact with real people and real faces, which we know is crucial to childhood development, these toddlers see all the adults around them just stare blankly into this bright, shining box.
Well, you don't know me.
Damn, this sound is still trending? Man.
But I know you.
Someone commented the screen time we should really be concerned about is the screen time of the parents.
Okay. So you just showed that video, but you didn't... I mean, I suppose it would have helped to show the video, but I don't understand showing the comment. I don't understand that. You've already made your point and backed it up, and I don't think a YouTube comment is going to be good enough evidence. It would also help if instead of showing videos, you showed papers. What if you like put a paper on screen showing that Gen Alpha's behavior is due to screen time? I have 2 minutes left on this recording, so I'll be right. I'm done. And I have taken a piss and watched like half of the footage back. So, I guess there's nothing to do but get into the... I'm gonna have to do this 3 times, bro? It took me half an hour to get through 10 minutes of your bullshit.
Else commented they saw a mom pick up her kid from school, and the mom didn't even look up from her phone to say hi to her kid. The kid was trying to tell his mom about his day, and she just gave him nothing. We can't complain about Gen Alpha iPad kids if we're Gen Alpha iPad adults.
Do you want to show another one of those stories? That is one story from like a YouTube or like Instagram or something comment. that you have no way of backing up. It would be a lot better if you got like a different account of that, or like several of them. It would be a lot better if you showed more than just like one TikTok comment.
Another comment said, parents forget that it's okay for a child to be bored.
I think that is a good point, and is also an entirely different point from every other point you are making. You're switching you are switching what you are telling people every 4 seconds, and I think you should make these videos about specific parts of the problem. For example, you are 12 minutes into your 32-minute long video about Gen Alpha not being able to read, and you still have not told me that they aren't able to read.
They don't need to have a phone 24/7. I'll amend that. It's not okay for a child to be bored, but boredom is merely a necessary step for the child to activate their imagination where they won't be bored any longer. Kids are more bored now than ever because of their iPads, because they've become so jaded, because nothing has any sense of wonder for them anymore. G.K. Chesterton said, "The world will never starve for want of wonders, but only for want of wonder." The world is an amazing place, but it's Gen Alpha's complete disconnection from the world that's causing all of their dysfunction. Because it's not a good sign that this is what happens when a kid's iPad is taken away. And mind you, this is one of the more stable Gen Alphas I've seen.
No more iPad for the whole month.
Did you see that? Within like 45 seconds, after this kid's iPad's taken away, he's playing with a real physical truck. If he stays on this track, one day he might...
I think it was like a more important thing to mention that it was it looks like a Lego truck as well. So I think that's a bit more important, because the Lego truck, that's a pretty good sign. If your kid's playing with Lego, they're probably not brain rotted. For example, I made this butterfly knife yesterday out of Lego. I think is also good to point out what is being said in this caption here. It's a better point to be said that I cannot speak. It is a good thing to say about how the amount of time it took for this kid to calm down was like 14 nanoseconds. Like that is a good amount of time. It is important to point out to people that taking away the iPad is going to be healthy for their kid, and it will not result in long-term health. This is an example of why.
Truck. If he stays on this track, one day he might read a real physical book with real physical words, instead of falling into the Gen Alpha usual MO, bringing an iPad everywhere you go. Whether you're at a restaurant, whether you're at a school, whether you're playing for the New York Mets, like, look at this kid. In my day, kid games were Clash of Clans and Candy Crush. I don't know when we got these first-person shooter games for 6-year-olds at Taco Bell. I feel like you could remake the Full House theme song, but about kids bringing iPads everywhere.
I feel like the iPad at Taco Bell isn't so bad, especially because they're a child, and their butthole is already volatile, and you don't need Taco Bell making it worse.
Like, everywhere you look, everywhere you go, there's a iPad for this kid to play on now. Yeah, maybe that song isn't as catchy. And when it comes to trying to tell some parents about these Gen Alpha problems, you wonder if you're Don Quixote tilting at windmills, because some of them seem beyond saving. Like, you tell me what this parent is doing, giving iPads to quiet their kids when they're traveling.
Tips for traveling with a Gen Alpha iPad kid.
A Gen Alpha iPad kid? What, is that a fucking thing now? What happened to just calling them kids or little shit?
So who is this? Who is this? Why are you could have cut this out, Unc. You could have, like, this is not important commentary. This is a reaction channel that's even worse than yours right now. It's just like, oh, are we calling them iPad kids now? Let's call them little shits instead.
Shits, you know? While Gen Alpha iPad kids have hoodies that wear them. It's buried him.
My son Gronkson likes to get 8 to 12 hours of iPad in a day, so it's important that we go to the airport the night before to make sure that we don't cut into that.
Ah, yeah, that's vital. We need to make sure to get his 8 to 12 hours of brain damage in a day.
I also bring headphones so that he can listen to Roblox and Minecraft on max volume.
Yeah, make sure to really blast his eardrums with shit.
I always ensure to spoon feed him because otherwise he will forget to eat.
What the fuck? This is great. You're really setting him.
Okay, so here's another thing, Casey Simpson. I'm tired of calling you Unk. You could have gotten this original video if you had put any work into finding these. You, like, if you put any work into, like, crediting people, because the most you've shown is not removing the little TikTok thing right here. Like, if you put in the work to find these actual videos, it's not... You can make it a lot easier and put in your own commentary. It is a lot less blocky, and I don't have to try and listen to 3 different things at once.
Up for life here. So I won't be able to communicate, hear, or eat now because Mummy thought it was a bright idea to remove his childhood away from him. Poor child. I want to save him and buy him some clothes that fit him and just introduce him to people. I just be like, this is another person, you can speak to him.
We do have to fly business class with baby Gronkston.
That can't be his name. There's no f***ing way you've named your child Baby Gronkston.
Because he gets really upset if he thinks that anyone else is watching his iPad. So to avoid upsetting him, we always go in business class. They offer more food options like ice cream and desserts in business class, and that's one of his main food groups, so that's always really important. While Gronkston looks small, he is actually 9 years old. It's because he spends his time inside playing iPad and forgets to eat that he's quite small in stature.
So your child's literally wasted away at the age of 9. That's right, buddy. You soak up that vitamin D, because after this, straight back to Roblox and ice cream.
Okay, this has to be satire. A 9-year-old boy looking like he's 4 because he spends all day inside playing Clash Royale. Wait, that was actually me.
So you make your point about someone that's Gen Alpha, and then you say something like, oh wait, that was me, making a joke about yourself and driving the problem away from Gen Alpha and all the way back to your millennial whatever is happening here.
Something strange is happening. Because Gen Z sees all these problems, Gen Z is trying to give their kids the same childhood, the same media that they, as Gen Z, grew up on. But Gen Z will still use the language of the boomers, saying it builds character. So Gen Z will show their kids something they grew up on, like the gummy bear video.
Oh, I'm a gummy bear, yes.
So you know that thing earlier where you said I was gonna kill myself after seeing one of the Gen Alpha guys? What is this? This is what is actually making me want to, like, get, like, the cartoony red TNT barrel and shoot it 17 times with a Glock 19. I mean, I think I can have a little bit more self-love. I think a Glock 19 is a bit harsh. It's terrible in terms of what you can get. Regardless, do not play this song. Oh my gosh.
Or bottle flips and tell their kids, you should watch this because it'll build character.
Oh, can we get Prime, please?
You want Prime? I got something better.
So this is another satirical video that you're using as actual evidence. People are not doing this. Gen Z isn't doing this. You can see in the caption, if you, once again, you didn't pass language arts class either because you clearly don't know how to read. Do you see it? Okay, 2 things. First, this is not happening. As you can see, how we're going to parent in 2050, it is notably not 2050. This is not what Gen Z is doing. This is what people are saying. This is what Gen Z is saying that they're going to do. Second of all, once again, you can't read, and you are displaying several examples about this in the video about your target not being able to read. I can't highlight it. I don't get it. You're literally contradicting yourself.
Builds character.
Flip! Reset! Flip!
Although I do kind of think it's funny that while boomers are saying like, oh yeah, I used to fight in the war and play kick the can, we're gonna have to say, oh yeah, we experienced the pandemic and are playing flip the bottle. I think that's pretty funny. I don't like the boomers. As like, if you're a politician and a boomer, I don't like you. If you're a politician, I don't really like you. That is just not what the video is about. But I just wanted to put in a fun little bit about flip the bottle as a game we're gonna tell our kids about.
This is too hard. I'm getting tired.
It doesn't matter.
It builds character.
As you can see, with him like looking in like laser eyes, and saying it builds character. That's a satirical video. I'm not sure why we're not able to get it through your thick skull that these are jokes. These are jokes. I failed geography class, or I failed the intern in place of I failed geology class or something. That was a joke, and you didn't seem to get it and started talking about physics and stuff. That is a joke. And you haven't made it clear that you think it's a joke.
Hey, listen to your Zoomer dad, kid. Capri Sun does build character. So what we have to realize is when we hear about the mass exodus of teachers because of Gen Alpha, it's not because the teachers aren't getting paid enough or because the teachers don't care about the kids. A lot of teachers chose their profession because they cared about kids so much.
So it's been like at least 9 minutes in between the 2 points you were making. And you filled that 9 minutes with a whole bunch of other stuff, and now you're bringing it back to the teachers. It has taken you ages to do that, and I'm not sure why you did that. I'm not sure why you filled 9 minutes with absolute nothing burgers and some actual good stuff when you could have put the good stuff at the end of this point, put the end of the 9 minutes at the start of the 9 minutes instead, and removed all the filler.
It's truly because these teachers can't handle Gen Alpha anymore. Watch this teacher explain and tell me that your heart isn't broken in a million pieces.
To the viewer, how much are you going to bet that he actually talks about how they can't read?
The reason teachers are leaving is not because of teacher pay. Even if every teacher in the state of Texas got a $10,000 raise per year, we would still be dealing with some of the same issues we're dealing with right now. Yes.
Well, this is because getting paid only resolves the issue of not having money.
Yesterday I broke up an assault in my band hall. Not a fight, an assault. A kid punching another kid in the head at least 4 or 5 times. Some mystery kid decided to get creative over the last 12 hours when I wasn't paying attention and literally took every single string off of every single French horn that we own, making them unplayable.
So, I would say this is something you should talk about, but it really isn't. Because talking about kids waging war in the classroom, they're just bad kids. And you could tie it into like how they aren't being taught good manners. But to my knowledge, you didn't do that.
A drum set station for my percussionist. I was so excited because they have been begging me all year to play drum set. It took 24 hours for somebody to break the hi-hat. People stealing and using instruments that aren't theirs, even if it's in a locker. I had another kid hit somebody else in the face when their trumpet was on their face because they were blowing it in their direction. I had another kid in the same class flip me off and then try to lie about it. Never in my 13 years of teaching have I ever had such a problem with kids keeping their hands to themselves and keeping them from destroying property. Corrective measures that we've used in the past do not work anymore. These kids do not care if they fail. They do not care if they're written up. They do not care if they get OSS. The only thing that most of them care about is how they're going to be entertained in the next 5 minutes of their life. But it's as if some of these kids have literally given up on life. It's like they've given up on doing anything special, and they're 12. They're 12. I was so excited to start this year because I wanted to make some kind of an impact and get back into the classroom, but I feel like I've been chasing my tail all year. I love my kids, but I'm beaten and abused and tired.
These teachers don't want to quit. They feel like they have no choice. They feel like schools are no longer schools. They're brain rot data farms. And you have to agree with her when you see 1-year-olds with iPads in public. And
Unc, what the hell could you possibly mean by data farm? What are you talking about? This is not a data farm, it's just brain rotted. I'm not sure where you're getting the farm part one. I cannot speak. Not sure where you're getting the farm part from. You're insinuating that the school is where the brain rot is being made, which immediately blocks a good point about how Kids are spending too much time online, and that is exclusively where the brain rot is coming from.
It's getting to the point where kids don't recognize real life anymore. They don't recognize real life objects. These kids don't know what a pencil is, let alone a pencil sharpener. So look at what happens when this kid actually sees a real life pencil sharpener for the first time in his life.
What'd you find, son?
It's a fishing reel, right?
Yeah, it's an old one.
Kind of old.
That's when fishing reels were good.
Bro, I bet that kid will also stare at an orange juice box.
To be fair, it is not every day that you see a pencil sharpener off the wall, and especially one that's made of plastic.
Because it says concentrate. And if you remember from my last video...
So if that's what he does, then show a video of him doing that. Like... And if it is a joke, then why do you display your joke as if you're not confident in it? Like, concentrate. Why do you talk like that? Why are you talking like that in a video where you're trying to make a point? You should treat your video essay as if it's an essay and maybe throw in a few good jokes in there. That was an I joke. Like 6.5 out of 10. But the way you presented it makes it seem like that's what you actually think.
2 YouTube channels have arisen to try and disprove and debunk me and say that Gen Alpha is actually...
This is what I was talking about earlier, and how I am not one of these people. I am not one of the YouTube channels popping up to debunk this guy. I'm just debunking this guy because I'm bored and have nothing to do, and he's kind of cringe and not making good videos, so...
actually doing fine. And so right on schedule, as I predicted, Gen Alpha Defender released his debunking of my latest video, saying actually Gen Alpha can read. Let's watch it together. So his thumbnail is me with the dunce cap on, a dunce cap which looks like it was painted in kid pics. And then Gen Alpha Defender has himself as a cyborg Julius Caesar wearing a crown, and it's all framed like it's a boxing match. Let's see what he has to say.
Are you now
Okay, never mind. I can't understand that. And then the other channel that...
Then turn on captions, you idiot. You turn on captions, tell us that not even captions understand it, and then actually try and, like, refute his point instead of skipping it entirely. I'm gonna give it to you this time. Let's hear what you have to say about the other guy.
Rose to try and debunk me, which is just this 6-year-old eating uncooked rice.
Guys, people keep saying that Gen Alpha is like uses iPads all the time. Guys, people keep saying that Gen Alpha is like uses iPads.
Another good example of his AI clip art. I can actually kind of tell what is... First, it's AI. Look at this tooth here. It is incredibly cursed. And none of them are aligned. And they're all different shapes. Don't look at my teeth, guys. But, you know, look at this little thing here. That's, like, what are we doing? But it's like, oh, the finger too. But it's taking, hold on. Oh, most of this is AI. So because I can't find it, there's like one, like, there's this one image, where it's basically this, but not AI generated, and it's yellow instead of red. Degis uses it a lot. Oh, look, double eyebrows as well. This is AI generated, it's just combining another one of those emojis that is red with that emoji that I just mentioned, turning it into this monstrosity, and not getting the teeth or fingers or eyebrows right.
That's all done. But how do they know? What's your proof? Comment in the comments.
Someone commented, if you really think Gen Alpha's fine, write a 250-word essay about it.
And this is what I'm saying. You need to make an essay and then present it as a video instead of recording yourself watching Caldruki and then pretending it's Gen Alpha. and then presenting it as a video essay. That's not, that's kind of stupid, honestly.
And I was like, damn.
Roasted. Everyone got the joke, man. Please stop it. My dad just arrived home with groceries, so I'm gonna go talk to them. I am back. They got me Popeyes, and so now I have a biscuit. Let's get back into the dumb things.
What a burn, but this kid seems nice. I'm gonna let him eat his rice. I worry about the other guy though, this Cyber Julius Caesar, because
So, you're saying this guy seems nice, but then you're saying, yeah, I'm gonna let him eat his rice. Why are you saying it like that? You're saying that you're gonna let him off the hook because he seems nice, and then not being nice, and barely letting him off the hook.
he's indicative of so many people who don't want to see the Gen Alpha problem because they don't want it to exist. When I finally rewatched his video and put on subtitles to try to understand what he was saying, he said the reason so many studies and...
So you did put on subtitles, but just didn't tell us. Yo. My flashlight is really warm. Hold on. Get my phone flashlight. Is this good? Yeah, that's alright.
Forums and comments and people are noticing.
So you did turn on comments, but you didn't initially do that. I don't know why you would delay the comments for no reason.
That Gen Alpha is different from previous generations is because every single person mentioned is falling for stereotypes. All right, bro, you can say that if you want, but where did that stereotype come from? There's a reason Sweden gave iPads to all their children because they thought they would learn.
Okay. I had something to say here. I forgot. What was I trying to say? I gotta remember. Okay, well, I was not able to remember it, but you still, notably, have not mentioned how Gen Alpha still can't read.
Better, and then have now spent millions, if not billions of dollars to get rid of all the technology in their class. Now spend millions, if not billions.
Okay. I'm gonna do some, live Google debunking. Retracting. No. Gosh. Pull the lever, Crunk. Okay. Muckga. Millions. 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 110 million. 110 million. 100 million. 110 million. 100 million. 137 million. Million. 1.13 billion krona. What the hell is krona? 120 million, though. There was one mention of billion. Why am I putting this in full screen?
Of dollars to get rid of all the technology in their classrooms because they'd rather lose $200 million than the minds of the next generation. For me, it all comes down to this, Gen Alpha Defender. I offer this question to you and to anyone who thinks like you. What evidence would you need to see that Gen Alpha...
This is a good question to ask. My question for you is when you're gonna script your videos.
Alpha is in trouble. That Gen Alpha is struggling. Because until we acknowledge that there's a problem, we'll never be able to make Gen Alpha into the true alphas that we know they can be.
Not even Gen Alpha is talking about being the alpha male anymore. No one says that. It's been gone for ages.
be. Gen Alpha's problems are manifesting themselves in so many different ways. It's not just that they can't read, it's what they're doing instead of reading.
Oh my gosh. He actually mentioned the title. 20 minutes and 30 seconds in. This is astounding. It was like a world event, man. That's insane.
We've talked about how sexualized the generation has become, but now we're hitting a tipping point where now these Gen Alpha kids, these 7-year-old boys, and they're walking around and moaning all.
They've been doing that. Like, people have been doing that. And furthermore, every generation has been making sex jokes at the age that they've been making them for all time. People have been making jokes about dick and sex for about as long as dick and sex have existed.
All the time, and adults have to tell them that that's not appropriate.
Is it just my kids, or do all Gen Alpha kids moan throughout the day? Ah! What the fuck is going on?
So many comments are saying, yeah, my son moans like that all the time. It's really disturbing, and people are noticing it's coming from YouTube. These kids are the first generation in human history to grow up without supervised content. Even the most objectionable or annoying kids' entertainment in the past was at least produced by and edited by studio executives and presumably parents. Now,
Parents. I mean, yeah, parents, but I don't think it's exclusively the parents or the people that are... Actually, I should stop talking before I say something really stupid. Disregard that.
kids have free reign on the internet at age 6 to watch anything that they can find, which is why you have things like ElsaGate, where so much innocent-seeming kids' content turns out to be sexual. Or kids will just watch YouTube videos that aren't meant for kids, like really inappropriate kinds, and then they start mimicking that and moaning in real life.
What do you mean by really inappropriate kinds? YouTube isn't that bad about taking people off the platform. No one, people aren't letting pornography slip through the cracks because no one wants to see that. There are dedicated websites for that kids cannot access, I hope.
To the point where there's a classroom full of 4th graders who all recognize the Pornhub intro sound.
Ah, well, damn. They do go on there. Alright, this is the 3rd clip. It should be the final one, if I'm correct. So, here we go.
Did we think taking down any kind of childhood boundaries for these kids would result in smooth skies? Do we think right now they're not experiencing any bad consequences? I ask you, Gen Alpha Defender, because I know if I was in trouble, let's say I'm drowning in quicksand, and someone reached out their hand and said, hey, this guy's drowning in quicksand, we need to do something about it, and then someone who purported to be my defender intervened and said, actually, there's no problem here, this kid is fine, let him drown in quicksand, that would be no friend of mine. So it all comes down if we really think Gen Alpha is in trouble.
This flashlight, is it just cooked? Do I need to put new batteries in? Hold on. Alright, the flashlight's still kind of cooked, so we're stuck with the phone flashlight for now. Let's get back.
Trouble or not. And apparently you don't. I think there's also a reason that Gen Alpha acts like East Germans trying to climb over the Berlin Wall in 1989.
Hold on. What does that even look like, huh? Hold on. What? I don't think you're saying something accurate. Yeah, why isn't that? Oh. No, I don't think you're describing it accurately.
With how badly they want to summit the generation gap and become Gen Z.
What year were you born? 2010. Oh, so you're a Gen Alpha. No, I'm a Gen Z. I don't think so. You're Gen...
No, 2010 is definitely not Gen Alpha. Like, it was 2012 the last time I checked, and now it's fluctuating all the damn time.
Gen Alpha. No, I'm not.
I'd be the same as this girl. Like, if someone called me Gen Alpha, I'd be like, no.
You don't have to be. You're a millennial. Like, you don't even have to worry.
Oh, I'm not, and if you ever say that again...
And also, didn't you already admit to being an iPad kid? There is a 0% chance that you would be this way.
I will kill you. I will kill you while slowly playing Italian Trallalero Tralala.
And then you just debunk your own point yourself. Oh yeah, I would try going the insurmountable odds to be not brain rotted. Well, killing you with brain rot. That's not... You're actively, like, watering down or, like, dismissing your own evidence. You're just like, oh yeah, I would try and cross the generation border while killing you with brain rot from my generation. Do you hear yourself right now? You sound stupid. You're being more stupider than me right now, Casey.
Because, you know, these poor Gen Alpha kids, like, a lot of them want to become Gen Z because this is not their fault. They did not choose to be Gen Alpha. Who would? Maybe Gen Alpha Defender would. I want you to seriously think about this for a second. There's a reason that everyone agrees that we put people in jail for showing kids pornography. But now these kids have access to all the pornography that they could imagine when they're on the internet unsupervised. There's a reason we arrest parents who don't give their kids any form of education. But now, even when kids go to school, they're not getting...
It's not entirely the parents' fault, though. If I'm not willing to learn, then I'm not going to. It's not always the parents' fault that their kid isn't a good person.
Getting an education. And there's a reason every politician always promises to make things better for our children because they're the future of our country. We all know nothing's more important. And yet all these things we used to arrest individuals for perpetrating on kids, we are now all perpetrating on kids as a collective society. And no one's going to jail, and all these kids are suffering the same way as if one individual showed them all this harmful content or took away their education. Just because child abuse has been institutionalized and nationalized, it doesn't make it any less abusive. Like, just think about this. If all the things kids saw online were shown to them by a creepy adult, or if there were some, like, really weird fundamentalist homeschool family that never showed their kids a pencil and only gave their kids iPads 20 years ago, we would be arresting all these people. And now,
did iPads even exist I'm not...
Now we think it's fine just because everyone's doing it. Instead of doing anything about it, we're too, like, enamored with Snapchat filters. So our kids will look back and see all their baby videos with, like, the dog filter on Snapchat.
Oh dear Lord!
That's classic!
You spin my head.
That'd be hilarious if...
Once again, I don't think any good parent is doing this. I don't think any parent that's willing to spend time with their kids going over baby pictures is going to be taking pictures with their baby with Snapchat filters. I don't think that's happening.
It wasn't such a sign of the end times. Because the internet is so far away from what the real world is, and kids are spending more time on the internet than the real world, kids are starting to confuse what's real and what's the internet, which leads to crazy situations where internet lingo will be brought into the real world and completely change how kids live.
Crazy situations. It's been happening for at least 20 years. Do you live under a rock? It doesn't look like it. It looks like you're in, like, a college dorm. Like, I don't think you're stupid. It's just, you over-exaggerate things more than ChatGPT does. It is honestly ridiculous.
In the real world. Watch how this millennial saw a 7-year-old kid playing on the playground in this weird meta self-aware internet way where he says to himself, POV, I'm a 7-year-old playing on a playground. That's not normal stuff, especially when he's doing...
Where's the clip of the kid saying, huh?
That instead of actually playing on the playground and enjoying the slide. So it's no surprise that these kids are having withdrawal effects when technology is taken away from them.
You saw that video earlier of the kid getting his iPad taken away, and I think I said 14 nanoseconds later, he was fine. This is very obviously not happening.
Adolf Hitler's grandson explain how even when kids get their phones taken away, they still ghost scroll, pretending like they have their phones in front of them, the way an alcoholic might reach for a drink even when it's not there.
Das Video, das ihr hier seht, stellt ein Kind dar, das so abhängig ist, dass es sogar im Schlaf die Scrollbewegungen auf einem Tablet nachahmt.
Because the truth is, and any teacher will tell you this, the kids don't know how to use a pencil. Why would they? They never use one. But they know perfectly how to operate an iPad, because that's...
Okay. Crazy scenario. You spend half your day with a pencil, or you spend all your day on an iPad. Which one do you think you're going to learn better? Especially because operating an iPad doesn't really develop those fine motor skills. I don't think it's that insane that they are having that young school children are having difficulties operating a pencil.
That's what's most important in their lives.
I see kids who cannot use their words. They don't know how to wait their turn. They can't hold scissors. They don't know how to hold a pencil. They don't know how to spell their own names. But there's one thing they do know how to do, and that is how to turn on an iPad and how to use it.
We all know the story.
Okay, so there's a reason for that. Like I just said, are you on your iPad all day, or are you learning how to spell your name all day? It's not that insane.
Sisyphus. He was an ancient Greek king who angered Zeus.
We know who Sisyphus is.
And for punishment, was forced to roll an immensely heavy boulder up an immeasurably large hill. And the moment before he reached the top, the boulder would fall all the way back down, and he'd be forced to roll it up again for eternity. That's how Gen Alpha teachers feel. Because teachers will tell Gen Alpha information over and over and over again, like the Dave Clark 5.
Over and over and over again.
And these kids won't retain anything.
We just spent 3-4 weeks practicing, doing whiteboard work, small group. Whole group. Repeat it again. And then we come to the test. And I got kids looking at me like, I don't know what to do. Yo, we just spent all this time and you retained nothing?
It'll be as if you never taught them at all. At this point, like, we should maybe just abolish the school project, because I don't know how
Okay, not to sound like a giant nerd, but don't do that. There are 2 reasons why. First of all, I have nothing to do in the day except play Ultra Kill, and playing Ultra Kill for 7 hours every single day. I don't want to be, like, turning into V1, or, like, I don't want to become a Prime Soul, or something. Like, I'm trying to make a joke, it's not working. Second of all, I heavily rely on school to keep my schedule operational and, like, somewhat functional. Don't abolish school. Otherwise, you would be even dumber than you already are now.
Outcomes could be worse if we did. At least then
it would be worse. I wouldn't be smart.
We'd have the wake-up call to see that we need to fill these kids' time with something useful.
We have the wake-up call. You are the wake-up call. It's too bad that you're not doing it often. Like, you're not doing the wake-up call that well. Because you're like, no, not shorts. Because, like, 8 hours ago, 3 days ago, 5 days ago, 7 days ago, 10 days ago. Like, wait, what? Huh? Fanfic? What? Never mind. Just, ignore my points. Focus on the fact that he doesn't know how to capitalize proper nouns. I'm gonna be scarred for life, man. Holy.
Type shit.
30.
He said no.
Huh?
Yeah. Hey, get back.
26. I did not. Did I click something? Okay.
Kids won't retain anything.
We just spent 3-4 weeks practicing, doing whiteboard work, small group, whole group. Repeat it again. And then we come to the test. And I got kids looking at me like, I don't know what to do. Yo, we just spent all this time and you retained nothing?
It'll be as if you never taught them at all. At this point, like, we should maybe just abolish the school project, because I don't know how outcomes could be worse if we did. At least then we'd have the wake-up call to see that we need to fill these kids' time with something useful. The consequences...
So my point is, you're making videos, like, every other 4 seconds. And if you spent a bit more time, you could make the wake-up call higher quality. As you can see, a child who might even be Gen Alpha is currently clowning on you, and already has been for like 70 minutes, give or take. And it's because you're not putting work into structuring your videos. You're just putting clips of Cal Druki in the corner, pretending that it supports your claim, and then clowning on it to like try and develop the topic further, which you can do without watching Cal Druki for half the video.
Are already dire. MIT just revealed that people who use ChatGPT, like Gen Alpha does, at a greater proportion than any other generation, they are losing their ability to think.
In the experiment, students wrote timed essays using either just their own brains, Google search, or ChatGPT. And the ChatGPT group didn't just do worse, they couldn't remember a single accurate quote from what they had just written. Their brain scans also showed this.
Well, yeah, that's not exactly surprising. If you don't write it, then you're not... If you don't write it and don't read it, then you're not going to be able to recite it. It's not really that shocking.
Same thing, the weakest activity and connection between areas, the shallowest processing. The researchers called it cognitive debt. You save effort now, but you pay.
Do the researchers call it cognitive debt, or do you call it cognitive debt? Because there's like a 90% chance that you're lying. And like, I get that that's kind of what it is, but like, not really. You spend some brain power, you stop spending brain power now so that what?
For it later with worse recall and weaker thinking.
No, it's worse recall because you didn't read it. It's not... This is a bad example of ChatGPT rotting your brain because they're using ChatGPT how most people would, and it's not good, and they can't recall anything because they used ChatGPT and didn't review the paper. This is not a good example. Once again, you're spreading a good message, but you're doing a terrible job at spreading that message to the point where several children are clowning on you.
That research...
Like, Casey, you have to do better.
...is terrifying. But I'm sure Gen Alpha Defender thinks MIT is just relying on stereotypes. But the one thing Gen Alpha and Gen Z has in common is we both grew up thinking our teachers lived at school, because that's all we saw them as. So we'd always be freaked out if we saw them outside of school. We thought as soon as class ends, the teachers would, like, die.
Bye, guys. Bye. Have a good weekend. See you on Monday.
This is another example of a satirical video. This one also isn't credited. This is from, I think, like, High School Life or something. They make pretty hilarious skits. There was like one where it was like a strategy guide for high school. That was genuinely hilarious. This is a very funny YouTube channel, but you don't credit it. And once again, this is a comedy video. And once again, we can't get it through your thick skull that comedy is not representative of what people think, of what people are actually doing.
See you on Monday. Hi, I'd like to make a dinner reservation for Mrs. DeCesare. First name, no, I don't have one. I'm a teacher.
Mrs. DeCesare, what are you doing at Target?
Oh, okay.
All right, we gotta run her. Yeah, we gotta run her.
At least that teacher didn't try to talk to Gen Alpha as if they were Gen Alpha. Gosh, it never ceases to make me cringe whenever I see videos like this.
Have a good day. Skibbity toy.
This is another comedy video. It's not good evidence. It's a video that is supposed to be a joke. It is supposed to make fun of like, oh yeah, Gen Alpha is kind of dumb and they use weird words. This is what this video is about. You should bring up actual evidence that works. And look, predictably, there's no credit.
Toilet Riz.
You know, this is sort of like going up to a werewolf and being like, man, full moons, psh, the worst. Am
I don't think it's like that at all.
I right? Like, it's bad enough that Gen Alpha speaks in brain slop. Let's not follow them.
Hi, welcome. What kind of donut would you like?
Another comedy video by the same people, and he hasn't credited it again. I don't think this family's even doing that bad in terms of Gen Alpha customers, because they're running a donut shop. Like, they look like happiness and sprinkles and sunshine and sparkles. Like, it's like... There's not even any brain rot going on here except for the comedy brain rot in the video.
Today.
Huh?
Move out of the way. I got this. Do you want the Rizzler donut, Sigma donut, or the Skippy donut? I'll stand in front of please. Okay.
What? I can't believe they actually had to speak those words out loud in a real ice cream store.
You can't believe it? They're children. They're used to it. As you have established, they say these weird things, and then you say, I can't believe that they say these weird things. Once again, refuting your own argument for me.
I take that back. Sometimes I'd rather have Gen Alpha speak brain rot than real English, because when they...
Is that taking it back, though? You just said that you can't believe that they do say it, which implies that you don't think they do, because you can't believe that they do.
They speak English, they say things like this.
I asked my freshmen which 4 presidents were on Mount Rushmore, and a kid said Barack Obama.
Once again, Janifest Destiny variant. I'm not gonna say ripoff, as this guy, as Unk over here would probably call it, Choppelganger Janifest Destiny, because he really likes that word for some reason. It is kind of a good word. I might do a tier list on Gen Alpha slang sometime, not one time. Gosh, I cannot speak. Regardless, it's another one of those videos where you're supposed to look at the things that these people have said and then laugh at them for it because it is a comedy video.
One of my students wanted to smell one of the smelly markers, and instead of just asking for it, he said, yo, can I hit that?
I think you should really bring this up about these kids having vapes, too. I don't think he's done a video about kids being on vapes all the time. And I think that is a really important part of it that you need to make a video about, Casey.
I told my class that I'm 27 because a kid asked, and another kid said, okay, sunscreen. I had to separate 2 of my students because they wouldn't stop talking, and when I moved one of them on the opposite side of the room, he reached out his arm and said, remember me.
That is called a joke. Someone makes a joke like, I'll never see you again. You're on the other side of the room. It is a joke. It is comedy. As I have said about 700,000 times, it is like these kids are making jokes. And honestly, from the quality of these jokes, they probably aren't even Gen Alpha. This is another instance of the kids not being stupid and probably not being Gen Alpha either, which means that you can't really use them as an example of Gen Alpha stupid.
He asked me for advice, and I was passing out papers, and when I didn't respond right away, he said, that's weird. I thought old people were supposed to be wise. We were making group posters, and a kid said, bro, you're doing it wrong.
That's another joke. Old people are supposed to be wise? That is another joke.
And without missing a beat, another kid at the table said, it's chopped.
I just worry that when Gen Alpha...
The worst part there is that the Gen Alpha guy used chopped wrong.
Becomes firefighters and police officers, getting arrested will go like this.
You know how fast you were going? 6, 7.
Another comedy video. Casey, why are you using jokes as little anecdotes to use as evidence for your video? It's not evidence. Also, once again, it doesn't even say Gen Alpha here. It says Gen Z. So, there are 2 people with thick skulls here. There's this Unk, or like whoever made the video doesn't know who is saying this. Casey doesn't know what evidence is. No one here is intelligent.
Translator. Oh, what's good, fam? Yo, Unc wanted to see if you were locked in with why he blessed you with the pull-up. You got that little vibe pack on you?
Oh, bet. Say less.
Fire. Appreciate you. I'm gonna run your information. You're not free to go. You tell him? Yeah. Bet. Yo, Big Bro's gonna get the T on your vibe pack, so you just gotta stay locked in until he gets back. No side quest, you feel me?
Yeah, nah, for real. On God, no cap, my aura been mocked since day 1, baby. Sheesh! The ops outside glazing heavy. It's different when the husks pull up, you feel me? I was finna crash out, but the vibes be cooked low-key. Took an L, took 3 L's. It's giving alphabet soup. I'm legally vibing, spiritually bricked, and emotionally mobbed type shit.
He said no.
See? Once again, it's a joke. It's supposed to be funny at the end, where it's just like he spews out all these terms that only half of them Gen Z actually uses, and then it makes it like kind of like confusing, and then in that amount of time, it's like yo, and then drives away. That is a joke, Casey. As someone who makes jokes in your videos, you should know about this, but unfortunately, None of your jokes are good enough to even surpass these.
Get police brutality. Gen Alpha is going to be all about police virality. Yo, what's up, Huzz fam?
Another instance of his stupid jokes that don't make any sense. It's not about police brutality. It's about police virality. Please shut up.
Committed 3 acts of racial profiling. Like and subscribe.
I don't think you should be saying that on the internet, sir. Don't make that joke, maybe. That's a terrible idea.
I mean this. If you're a Gen Alpha watching this and you ever become a police officer, please shoot me. Please shoot me in the face before you arrest me by speaking in brain rot.
They cannot legally do that. And quite honestly, I don't even think that was a joke considering how dense you've been this entire video. But they, for one, legally can't do that. And 2, if they're a police officer, they sure as hell are not speaking in brain rot.
I'm fine with that being my epitaph. I'm just not fine with hearing skibbity right before I drop the soap. So let me ask you, what life are we setting these kids?
So you talk about how over-sexualization is a problem, and then make a joke about dropping the soap in prison, and the joke with that joke is that after you drop the soap and bend over to pick it up, you get railed up the booty hole. That is a sexual joke in a video where you condemn that.
Up for if they can't read, if they can't go to school, if they
Also, furthermore, it's not like you don't think that these kids are watching your videos. You know that these kids are watching your videos, and you've put comments in some of your videos from the kids that are watching them.
Can't get a job. These kids are already becoming aggressive because they know what was robbed from them. Have you ever heard poverty causes crime?
Do you think these kids that you're portraying as stupid would know what's been robbed from them? Because you can't portray someone as stupid the entire time and then portray them as smart, like, man, boomers have really robbed me of these things. Skibbity toilet. That is oxymoronic. You're fighting for both sides at the same time, and it's not working. It really isn't, Casey. It's going catastrophically for you.
That is categorically false. Instead, relative poverty causes crime. That means that when there's a neighborhood, a city, a country, a world where there's a lot of really poor people and a lot of really wealthy people, crime explodes. If everyone's poor...
You just said local and then talked about the world. TS is not local, my guy.
Or everyone's wealthy, it's a much more stable society. So when there is this inequality, it's the people who feel like they've got nothing to lose that creates all the aggression and all the violence. So are we surprised that Gen Alpha is starting to become aggressive? This woman explains that Alphites will lash out violently, they're fixated on their appearance and hustle culture instead of playing at recess when they're 6. Kids are punching each other and shouting slurs at each other.
See, that is a good point to make. Too bad you only have 1.5 minutes left of your entire video about it. Today, someone said he would pay me $100 if I said the N-word. And then when I called him out for trying to pay me to say the N-word, when I called him out for that in front of the entire class, he acted surprised, like, what? Me? I wanted you to say neighborhood. Don't be stupid. There was a different guy today that called someone else the F slur. So, this is an actual problem. And not to mention, I haven't told you guys, but the school locker room is not for the weak. I got called the hard R there once. And I'm like the whitest dude you'll ever see. Imagine what this dude does to anyone else. This is a good thing to talk about. And I don't mean the thing is good. Just it is a problem that would be good to discuss in a video. But you're not going to be able to get the full scope of this issue out in 1 minute.
Girls in kindergarten are calling other kindergarten girls a bitch, all while the guys are calling each other the N-word on Minecraft servers, and their parents are seemingly doing nothing about it, just laughing their way into destruction. Because Gen Alpha is going to take over...
laughing their way into destruction, they just don't know or are also racist.
Our society, and then there's no turning back. I'm reminded of Barry Maguire's rebuke against those who didn't find the problems in the world serious enough to do anything about. There will be no one to save with the world in a grave. And you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, that you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. But that eve has arrived. Will it only get darker before the dawn?
That eve has arrived? Then why are you making this video? If the eve has arrived and the full impact of Gen Alpha has arrived, then you don't need to make this video because we're already doomed. This is pointless. Why would you say that dumb thing you just said? What?
Or will the dawn never come? But I am thankful for our patrons. Thanks to Bob, Eric, Guy, Matt, Raz, Amel, M, Keaton, Nick, Magnus, Tito, Shadow J, Kendall, Anthony, Cam, Jason, Leah, Sammy, Cool, Scott, and our newest patron, Rebecca. Thanks for watching. And make sure to check out my songs on Spotify.
I'm not checking out your terrible song. So, that was legitimately mind-numbing. I don't have anything more to say. This guy should put more effort into his videos because they aren't video essays. They're stealing 20 minutes of clips from other people, making terrible jokes about them, and saying something intelligent once every 15 minutes. That is the composition of this guy's video. Casey, you need to do better. You need to put effort into what you are posting, because if I can't take you seriously, Gen Alpha sure as hell isn't either. They're not going to take you seriously. No one is going to take you seriously if you're making jokes about werewolves and like, oh, yeah, I can't believe these guys would have to say this in their donut shop. You need to put effort into these videos so that people perceive it as a problem. There's also one little thing. Your title of the video is Gen Alpha Still Cannot Read. My mouse probably isn't over there because I'm on my editing software right now. But Gen Alpha Still Cannot Read. See? So then tell me, why the hell is there literally one sentence in your entire video even mentioning that they can't read? One sentence mentioning it in 30 minutes of stuff that's supposed to be about how they can't read. Casey, that's stupid. You look stupid right now. You need to fix this so that people can take you seriously. I have nothing else to say. If you liked this video, like the video. If you don't like this video, why are you here? If you're Casey, either just do better, maybe make a response, react to my reaction. I have no idea. Just make sure not to take anything I said out of context like a bitch. Don't do that. That is kind of like, that's just, don't. It's kind of like, you look like a coward when you do that. If you have something to say, leave a comment. You can subscribe, I guess. 500 subs, and I will drink a gallon of orange juice right after brushing my teeth. And yeah, I have nothing more impactful to say. Have a good day.